What's going on? It's Justeeni here, and today we've got another replay review. This time it's an aquarion mirror match on drylands against the Pro Poly Champions player Ratz. And before we get right into things, here's a little pop quiz. See that I start with 415 points. He started with 410 points. Why is that the case? Comment below if you know. And now, let's get right into it. Kind of gloss over the opening. It's pretty typical. See, I've got the parallel resources here, so I get org before capturing. Level up my capital. And I'm gonna get hunting to level this city up as well. And now, on turn 6, I funnel this explorer, and this explorer is gonna travel, and it's going to give me some really nice information to work with, because at this point, I knew where Ratz was, and if you know why, then you know why, right? So I know that they're likely not over here. They're likely not over here. They must be in this general area. So even though I haven't found them yet, I have gotten some nice useful information. It's also worth noting, if we look at score, it looks like Ratz also has quite a few points, so they must have gotten an explorer at some point as well, so they likely have good vision on me. At this point, I'm kind of thinking, I kind of thought a lot before the game about what tech I want to get. Riding is kind of just a little worse because there's no roads after, but archers are quite good, so you'll see in a bit. That's my plan. I go archery, and then I get a second explorer right here, and I know that it's going to find the opponent this time. And sure enough, there they are. And they win archery as well. We both had the same exact idea. And it's going to be a pretty interesting battle, both sides going archery. And they're able to stop me from getting this ruins for a turn. But I'm able to get what looks to be a very nice start. This veteran swordsman basically ensures I'm taking this village right here, and these archers plus this warrior can help me get this ruins as well, and I've already got 5 cities, so things are looking pretty good. I suspect there's another city up here because of these resource indicators, so if I can pressure that area as well, then maybe I can have 6 cities, or even 7 if I can keep this. But let's see what happens. Currently, at this point in the game, I'm quite confident. And that confidence is quickly dwindled by seeing the crab. And by an interesting choice, mining, which was very unexpected. I mean, already unexpected is such an early crab. They didn't use any waterways or anything like that. They were just able to get a very early crab. I get a nice resource ruins though, and I can start developing, and there's actually a pretty specific reason why I'm going with farming and going so greedy, is because I do have a long-term plan. I also get an explorer here. I'm pretty certain that this is just a mistake. This is a pretty old game, so my gameplay is definitely not the best, but I'm not actually sure what I was thinking here. I know that there's probably a village here. I can step on this mountain for sufficient vision. This doesn't benefit me much. Maybe my thought process was I get the lighthouse, but that gives me 1 star per turn, but I can get this city to level 3 pretty easily anyway, so not a very good play on my part. And then another interesting play, so yeah, I siege this, but if we actually go through Ratz's turn, sieging is probably okay here, but they move the crab with intentions to unsiege. And at first glance, that doesn't seem like a big deal, like, okay, they have their crab there when I unsiege. But it is actually pretty significant. In fact, so significant that I decide I'm not even going to capture the village. And the reason why I don't capture the village is because if they hit with the crab, they're not going to keep it there. The crab has the escape ability and 2 movement. they're going to clear the way with their archers and then just fling their crab right next to my city. So naturally, I think, well, I don't want that to happen. I'm not going to take the city. But then I promptly put the unit right where the crab can hit it anyway and escape right where I don't want it to be. I don't know what I was thinking here, but definitely not a smart play. And even though I'm actually able to get 6 cities, and I've got pretty good vision on the opponent, I can actually safely assume these are their only 5 cities. But despite being up in cities, it's actually not so easy. But I do have a long-term plan. The long-term plan, you'll see in a little bit. I won't spoil it right now, because maybe you'll be able to figure it out. Though, to be honest, it's not the best plan, so maybe you won't actually know what I want to do, because it's definitely not the optimal thing. But yeah, you can also see a nice little trick. Ratz got an explorer on the city, not only to snag that lighthouse, but now when I take it, it's only 2-star per turn. So even despite me having a city advantage, I picked up 3 explorers this game, and he picked up an explorer in one of my cities. So that's 4 less star per turn than if I had workshops everywhere. But realistically, I'd pick explorer on both these cities anyway. So it's really like still like 2-star per turn less, but every star per turn definitely matters. Because if he's got really good development, it's going to hurt a lot for me despite having a city advantage, because if we have equal eco, then my techs are just going to be more expensive. But I do have the city advantage, and I'm likely a bit ahead in economy, but I have to worry about this crab sieging. And I can't kill the crab. Crabs are very strong with 5 defense. So I can pick away at it with the archers, but I have construction, and I get border growth, which is absolutely ridiculous. But I do it for a very specific reason. And again, I happen to remember why I did this, and I also know that it's an absolutely like not good reason to go for construction border growth like this. Because this was actually kind of my plan from the start, was to take advantage of the fertilizability in construction, which is a pretty nice way to get some pretty high level windmills. And my idea was eventually to combine that with trade. And from there, my thought process is, well, I'll have plenty of eco if I need to go for math or spearing, or even if I wanted to get something like navigation for jellyfish, which even on drylands, jellyfish are pretty good. It's just highly inaccessible. If I have enough star per turn, then really I can do anything like that. But there's like a pretty major issue with this assumption. I'm assuming that I'm just going to get to the late game just fine, but spoiler, it will not be easy to get to the late game. Even without like roads, like you think everything's less mobile, the combat's going to be more slow. That's not the case at all. Things are going to be very dangerous very quickly. These archers are putting massive amounts of pressure. Even my archers trying to defend, it's not really enough. They're just going to pretty quickly take things over. And I can try and defend, but I make a very major mistake here. This warrior seems pretty innocent. My idea, of course, was to try and force some of these archers, instead of going here, force one of them to target this warrior instead to kind of distract. And it's kind of a 2-star distraction, but I'm thinking that I'm ahead in eco, so I can afford to do some sort of distraction like this. It's a little bit of a sacrifice in stars, but I just need to hold the fort, right? And that thought process is fine, but I forgot something really important. And you'll very quickly see that important thing that I missed. Veteran warrior. I can unsiege it, luckily, but now I'm the one having to divert extra attention here when I wanted them to divert extra attention here. And if I didn't train the warrior, that would not have been the case. And you can also just see even more pressure. They're getting riding to help chip away at my archers too, which I'm quickly running out of. They've just, like, if you actually, like, look at this setup for a moment, I'm just gonna pause. Like, I've got, like, some warriors, and I had even more warriors before, trying to, like, take advantage of defense bonus. They don't have any. It is all archers with, like, a couple riders sprinkled in, and, like, their crab. But, like, they kind of realized warriors are pretty useless here, because they're just gonna get shot at, and then if the warrior survives, then it can do something, but it's likely just going to die before it does anything. So it's just better to make a huge wall of archers, because then that can pressure the opponent archers. And eventually I start realizing that, and I train a lot of archers, but it's kind of too late. Already, I'm just under so much pressure. Not only that, but here's a cloak. I'm on the defense. I can't deal with this. I have vision on it, and I know exactly where it's going to go. It's going to go on one of these tiles. But can I do anything about it? Well, I do try one thing. It's a long shot, but my idea here is that this crab, next turn, will get pushed, and then I can move the crab 2 spaces, and if they move their cloak in one of these spots, I could reveal it to delay their attack by 1 turn. And I know what you're thinking. That's such a long shot. They could just move their cloak here, and none of that works. And you'd be absolutely correct. This plan is absolutely terrible. It doesn't actually do anything. I basically just gave them a free level 5 city to infiltrate with the cloak, make a ton of daggers, and easily win the game. And realizing not only that, but that this city is about to be sieged, and I cannot unsiege it at all, and that my units are very quickly dying, there's not really anything I can do. And I throw in the towel before I even try with this idea. And it's a pretty interesting game, though, because the main thing that really got me was this ambitious idea of going for construction, thinking that archers can just do everything, which archers are pretty nice, but they're not going to magically defend anything and everything. Archers are pretty annoying on offense as well, even when the opponent doesn't have roads. But it's very important to not be greedy and assume that you can just get to the late game, especially even in like this sort of scenario where it seems like, oh, the opponent's not going to be able to move as quickly. There are so many resources in Polytopia to attack the opponent, especially on land. So you have to be very, very careful if you're trying to play greedy like this. Markets are really good, but on drylands, they can be very risky, especially compared to other map types. And I wasn't even able to survive to the point of getting markets this time around, because the opponent knew to attack, and I thought I could just get away with defending. But all in all, the opponent played very well. Absolutely kudos to them. They managed with a city disadvantage. If you aren't convinced it's a city disadvantage, it absolutely is. They were in 5 cities this whole time. So I was up in cities and just lost because I was too passive. But hope it was a very useful replay and you can get a lot of takeaways. If there's any other misplays that I didn't take note of on my side or even the opponent's side, let me know, like and subscribe, and have a good one.